Hey everyone, since people liked the last Twitch as a Monopoly video that I made, I want to shift over some of my content over to just talking about the industry as a whole and some of my observations. I feel like I give a unique perspective, and as far as Tetris and puzzle games go, I'll still do videos from time to time, but I'm less excited about doing those. I think those have run the course for me. I'm sick of doing those, and although I had a great time doing those videos for a time, I feel like I need to move on. So recently, a video came or some news came out about the new Diablo mobile game, and somebody wrote an article about how to max out your character, you need to spend $110,000, and obviously that raises a lot of questions, a lot of eyes. We look at gotcha gaming and a bunch of things of predatory practices with mobile gaming. And then you have a bunch of people from the crypto space saying you don't even get to own the con. NFTs and ownership will save this experience, and people are laughing at this notion of, well, like, you're spending 110K, if the servers go down, then what do? You just lose your money. And strangely enough, I've had an experience with this when I used to play the puzzle fighter game on the mobile app, where it was a gotcha game. I was highly ranked. I was what you'd probably call a whale in that game. And towards the end of its life cycle, they started giving out a ton of sales. So I thought to myself, hey, let me buy some of the things here because it's such a great deal. So I ended up spending about $270 in the last couple of weeks, and then it vanished. Capcom said they're going to kill the servers, and it felt like a terrible experience. And part of me relates to this of, oh, I wish I had ownership, or I could take the assets that I quote unquote own and move it to something where somebody can use those assets and create a game where I can use all the things that I've accumulated over my account. But alas, I can't do anything with it. It's gone forever. Capcom, the mobile division, has taken all my money. So the notion of ownership feels interesting, but if you look at the title on why crypto won't fix this, I'll elaborate. To me, I feel like crypto, NFTs, tokenomics are just all a tool and a means to an end. And what I mean by this, and there's a cool Pokemon quote where the Pokemon are stranded on an island and they think that Ekans, Coughing, and Meowth are evil, but then they say, we're not evil, our masters are evil, and they're just using us to serve their means. And I feel this analogy is apt here, where whether you use gotcha gaming, gotcha mechanics, addiction, predatory habits, or you're using crypto as a tool for monetization, they're just tools at the end of the day. So whether you decide, if Diablo were to switch to NFTs, it wouldn't fix anything. And the reason why is because if the developers and the publishers are greedy and they're looking at their bottom line, they're going to do whatever means they can to make the most amount of money. Diablo came out with NFTs, and it become this marketing tool. You can bet that they're going to do whatever they can to get as much money as possible for them. They're a company, although they want to make a good game, maybe at the end of the day, they're trying to take care of their bottom line. And so people are thinking, does crypto fix this? And I would argue no. And the reason why is because if you can buy something with the intent of reselling later, this bumps up the price even further. So that 110K number could actually be 200K, 300K, 400K, because they're thinking, if I spend $100,000 today, maybe it becomes more money later. And so it becomes a speculation tool. And a lot of people will get priced out even further out of playing the game. And there are other predatory practices you can do with crypto. You can set the royalties that every time you sell an item in a game, Blizzard Activision gets 50% of the money. And currently the standard's like 5 to 10% depending on the NFT project. And if Gotcha has told us anything, you can get away with a ton of stuff. I've known people who played Clash of Clans and other games who have spent $40,000 on the game. They're looking to make the most amount of money as possible. And although there are mechanisms where you can own still the game developer has to run the servers. So even if your items are NFTs, if Blizzard Activision says, we're not making any more money, we're going to shut down the server. And if they have some IP rights here, they can still shut you down. Your NFTs have no use. And if you try to create your own universe, depending on IP rights, I'm not fully an expert here, you're still out of luck, just like my situation with Puzzle Fighter, where Capcom decided to just pull the plug. It's interesting, and I want to extend this also to play to earn gaming and my views on it. Axie Infinity, Step In have always toted this notion of, look at these Filipino people from the Philippines or other countries who are able to make a wage off of these play to earn games. and why I view these kind of as a distraction to game design and game development, both in traditional Web 2 gaming and also Web 3 crypto gaming, wherever you call it. And people will point out to saying play to earn has always existed in gaming, right? With World of Warcraft having Chinese gold farmers back in the day. And just to explain that, if you aren't aware, back then you needed gold in the game, and people found out that if you can farm gold in the game, you can actually make a living wage arbitraging and selling that to people who don't have the time to accumulate gold. So you'd have this exchange of basically time for money, where you'd have people from China get gold and then they'd sell the gold to people who are willing to buy it for real currency. The interesting thing here is where it solves this one particular issue of time versus money, right? Where a person that might be really busy but wants to get to end game content might say, I don't have the time, and it's not worth 50 hours of my time to get something that I can spend $30 on. So there's an exchange of money for time going here where both parties went out here. But the whole point here is that the person buying the gold is trying to get to the end game. They're trying to continue their experience within the game. And where this is different for crypto gaming is that everything that you do to make money in the game, or that you're going to spend money on, is only there to make you more money. And what I mean by that is, going back to the WoW example, you're buying the gold in the game, or in Final Fantasy 14, you can skip content in the game to get a level 50 or 60 character. You pay some money, and that's to save you time to get to the end game content, right? Where the whole point of it is to skip some of the parts that might be boring or uninteresting or grindy, and you pay the money to skip that so you can get to the content that you want. In crypto gaming, it's not that case. You're spending money on objects that are going to promise you more money, and they're not really there to amplify the experience. So when you look at people who are really excited, and this isn't everybody, but generally speaking, this is a sentiment that I get with Axie Infinity and play to earn games, is you can make money here. And unfortunately, what I don't hear is, oh, this game is really fun. And that's alarming to me, because the games that I play, Teamfight Tactics, League of Legends, Smash, I'm willing to pour a lot of money into those experiences because my friends play them and it's a really fun experience playing with them, right? Like, you don't need to give me money to play those. And so that's why I think play to earn is also a distraction. And I get it. I think one of the things that is nifty about play to earn, if I'm going to be fair, is that it's a decent marketing tool, right? The idea that you can make some money while you're playing games is a good way to get users to try out your game. And I actually think that's a fair use case for a game. Like, if you're able to give out discounts or freebies so that people play your game, I actually think that's important, especially if you're a company that doesn't have that brand, you're not Riot Games, you're not Activision, and you need attention. That's a good way to get it. But then it becomes a distraction, because it's really hard to design a fun gameplay experience and also have balanced play to earn mechanics. If you look at a lot of these economies, what ends up happening is people hear, oh, I can make a lot of money, and then the game just devolves into this experience of min-maxing the monetization efforts rather than enjoying the game. And if you're a game designer, do you want people to enjoy your game for what it is, or that the fact that they can make money? It's if you had a birthday party and you invited people, but they only showed up because you gave them $200 each for showing up. Are they really your friends, or are they really there because they just want your money? So it's going to be interesting, right? And going back to the Diablo and crypto, like, I think crypto is just a tool, and you can talk about the environmental concerns, but that's been fixed if you use Solana or other blockchains that don't really use proof of work with electricity and power and whatever. As it stands now, it's really hard for me to envision like what crypto solves. In fact, it doesn't even really solve the Diablo issue. It's not to say that I'm overly negative. I know that Dan Olson in Line Goes Up, just tears crypto apart. I'm not that negative on it, but at the same time, it feels a little bit gimmicky, similar to when Wii came out with the motion controls and Nintendo decided that we're going to add motion controls to everything, or that VR was going to be used for everything, or 3D glasses were going to be used for everything. It feels like people are just trying to slap crypto mechanics onto everything and see what works and what doesn't. And so there might be something that exists down the road that might be exciting or might be a game changer. But the realistic thing that I see here for if NFTs can exist in the game or they provide value is that you create a fun game, you hide the Web3 elements in it, and then as you play through the game, if it so happens that I spent $50 on a game, which is the going rate for a lot of games, and at the end I got $15 in items, and I'm like, oh wow, that's cool that I can sell this off to somebody else. I think that's how it should work. None of this make millions, make hundreds of dollars a day just off of these play to earn mechanics. But yeah, so like where does this like leave us as gamers? I'm a gamer at home. And it really comes down to this, right? Like what do we tolerate as a community? What do we tolerate as gamers? And I think it's good for us to continue to speak up when we see predatory practices before they become a norm. Gacha gaming has now become a norm and it takes advantage. It's predatory. Definitely don't want to see a place where Blizzard Activision thinks, oh, like people are willing to spend $10,000 to $50,000 on items in a game and expect that people have to play that to enjoy a game. So keep talking, keep sharing your opinions. Hopefully this was an interesting video. And if you want me to talk more about different topics, go ahead and let me know in the comments.